I think so. I mean, I'm losing faith in them. But I do think that, like, I have more faith in them than the Lakers turning it around. That's not saying much. But here's the three things I think have to happen. One,
You're still going to need a dang on leprechaun to get this one. I can understand saying, oh, yeah, I got more confidence than them, the Lakers. But, yeah.
I think they got Philadelphia's number. They need to help Philadelphia remains in that 4 slot. You know, because they could pass Indiana. I don't think they want Indiana in the first round because I just think they're a tough matchup for the Sixers, even though the Sixers have more talent. But for the Celtics, Kyrie, number one, has let the media criticism deflate him. Mm-hmm. And you can see it in the way he's responding to the media. Like, remember he had that that streak about 7 games where he averaged about 30 and 10 right before the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. They went 6-1 in those games. Then at the All-Star break, everybody, you know, he's talking with Kevin Durant in the hallway, and the media makes a big deal out of it. He stays and watches the MVP ceremony with KD on the court for the All-Star game. The media makes a big deal. And he has come out and talked about it, and he's let it deflate him. And I think it's impacting his play to some degree. So I think that's number one. He's got to do some soul searching, get his swag back, and not worry about all the outside stuff. Secondly, some of the other players, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they have become more isolation players, too.
Bad shots waiting to happen.
Remember, now, last year it was just do what Brad says, and we do that. Mm-hmm. Now they've gotten a little bit better. They're feeling themselves a little more. So they're going ISO. And I also think, you know, when you play basketball, when one of your guys is ISO, that's contagious. And I think with Kyrie playing that way, they have become that. They need to realize, look, what's going to help our stock, Jason and Jaylen, is if we win.
Yes.
Nobody's looking at your numbers necessarily. It's if you win. Right. And then the third thing, Brad Stevens, and I know you've talked about it, rightly so, can he handle the superstar egos and all that? He's going to have to make a hard decision with Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, since the All-Star break, 23 minutes a game, 31% shooting, 5 points a game. He's taking minutes from some of these young guys who already are bucking. We've made a big deal out of Kyrie's return, but we need to really look at Gordon Hayward's return and him taking minutes from these guys and hurting the chemistry. So those three things have to happen for them to turn around.
I agree with your list of 3 things. Where I disagree with you is the idea that winning a first-round series is somehow some silver lining for this team. Anything short of a very competitive conference finals appearance is an abject failure by the Boston Celtics. They've made the conference finals each of the last 2 years.
East was a lot weaker.
Okay, but they were projected to be at the top of this stronger
Do they have
East.
More talent than Toronto?
What, more talent than Toronto?
I don't think so.
When they started the season, we thought on paper, pick these rosters, I'll take that roster. Now, we've seen Toronto's role players get better. And then also, we didn't know if Kawhi was going to be top 5 or not. Now we see top 5 on both ends of the court. Yeah. So now it doesn't look like it. But before the season, I think we would have took the Celtics.
It was very controversial of me to not have them in the NBA Finals. I
didn't have them there either.
They had the second highest projected win total of any team in basketball going into this season. How many times did we hear that? I mean, they made the conference finals last year, and they're getting 2 All-Stars. Now, it turns out they only got 1 All-Star because Gordon Hayward, and I totally agree with you. And that is the one movable piece as far as move him to the bench that is doable for this team, because you can say, listen, man, it's not about long-term. It's just about the injury. But, see, you brought up the fact, how long's Brad Stevens known Gordon Hayward?
Oh, man, since high school.
Since he
built a program at Butler around him.
Right.
And so there's the emotional and human element there for that decision. But the Celtics are staring at what I would consider a disastrous year. Because whether they get bounced in the first round or the second round, Kyrie's gone if that's the result. The only chance to keep him is a deep playoff run. And what evidence do we have from this team that they are capable of winning 4 of 7 against a good team?
Yeah, we don't have the evidence. We can say we appropriate that like the way we used to do with LeBron. Oh, man, the Cavs don't look good, but we believe in LeBron. There's nothing that we have. Brad Stevens, we did have that. Oh, man, Brad Stevens is going to be able to get them through this. No, we don't have that. We could be, man, they're an elite defensive team. Sometimes they are. Most of the times they're not. Offensively, their inability to have a system And the system that works for them worked better when they had less talent. Because in that system, it doesn't require your individual ability to be able to score the basketball. But what happens is when you have a player like Kyrie, and I'm watching him, because Jaylen Brown and Tatum, I'll use them as examples, this offseason, they worked on their individual game. Because when you're in the gym as a player, you're not thinking about the team. I'm working on myself. Right. Kyrie's working on himself. Tatum's working on himself. So all of them came back to training camp, and you know what? After an exciting postseason, each one of them thought, I can do more. Right. I got more moves. I got more stuff that I can do. I can't wait for my second year. Terry Rozier, he's got his own agenda. I want to be a starter. I want to be paid. So now you got all these different stories that people are trying, that are bigger in their life than the Celtics winning. That's why I don't believe. I don't believe they're going to be able to get back on the same page. I always believe, Ty Lue talked about it. Man, Kyrie Irving is not about that team and ball movement. He is about, I can take him off the dribble. I can take him off the bounce. And that does not fit in the Brad system, so I don't see him turning it around, Cris.
This is why you typically don't see teams with a lot of young players contend. Because when you're Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are in their rookie scale deal. When you're a rookie in that 4-year window or whatever, your main goal, and I got to be honest, I think rightly so, establish yourself as a star so you can get that big deal. Kyrie didn't come close to winning early in his career because LeBron didn't really either his first few years. You want to establish yourself as a star, then you get that max deal. Then that's usually when the winning becomes the priority. And that's a problem. I still have a little faith in that day, but I think Toronto and Milwaukee are just better.
Okay. Like, so I think their ceiling is the second round anyway.
I don't think that's their ceiling. I would not be shocked if they can get past a Milwaukee or a Toronto. Milwaukee, we haven't seen do it. I like picking up Pau Gasol, some experience, but they don't really have much experience going deep. Toronto, I think, is better than Boston, but I give them a shot.
All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.